Hey everyone, I'm Karen Walby-Solomon and welcome to What's IGN Crushing On, IGN Africa's official entertainment podcast. I'm your host and I'm joined as always by my producer and editor Rebecca Barches. So this is a show where we discuss all things entertainment and pop culture with a new guest every week. We bring recommendations, news and fun facts, sometimes touching on the more serious issues surrounding these topics. Hey, welcome to episode 2 of season 3. Today I'm joined by Tarryn Steyn. Hi Tarryn, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Tarryn is an actor, producer, many things. She's also the host of Hope I Get It podcast. So how are you doing, Tarryn?
I'm good. I was telling you earlier, this is my second day back in the real world after my 10-12 day isolation. So I'm good. I feel like I have I don't know, I just feel like a new person, I think.
But yeah, I mean, shame. Like, it's been like the worst. So, how has your year been? I mean, I can't even imagine.
It's been well, 2020, I don't even know what to say about that. 2021, I was like, it's going to be the year. I felt hopeful. I was like, we're going to get it together. Not only like in life, but I think I was like, the theaters will get back.
Yeah.
We'll go back to work. Everything will feel normal again. Maybe not right at the beginning, but slowly. But it's like August already, and I still feel like when is it happening? When is life going to go back to normal? It still feels like we're stuck in 2020.
It's like
And I don't know, I feel
2020
like in a
continued.
rut.
Yeah, 2020
Yes,
continued.
yes. I mean, there's definitely been changes. There's been, obviously, our restrictions have lifted and people are, the vaccination rollout is happening. And so things are moving, but it still feels like, in my space anyway, it feels like things are still stuck.
But you've
Because of
done
the industry.
But you've done a few plays and stuff during lockdown. Like, have you?
Yes, I was able to. So at the end of last year, when our like heavy lockdown restrictions lifted, I was able to film a short film, and then I did a play which we filmed so that it could be
Okay.
streamed. So we did that. I was able to do that, and then my podcast is honestly the one thing that's kept me going. It's kept me sane, and it's kept me connected to my community, because I felt like everyone was obviously going through something, and I realized, I was like, I don't have hobbies because all I do is work. So when you're stuck at home, I was like, I don't have anything to do. I don't know. I can't knit. I don't garden. I don't draw. I mean, you can only color in so much. So I was like, I need to find a way to still be creative, but stay connected to my community and to continue to network. Because when we come out of this, it'll be so nice to have a new network of people from wherever. So my podcast honestly has been like a saving grace for me.
So, like, where did the idea come from to start it and stuff?
So for me, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I'm always so inspired when people just do the things. Like, you're one of those people, I'm just like, look at her go. I love it. So I was listening to a lot of theater-based podcasts, and I thought, these are such interesting conversations, but what's the one topic that I'm not hearing a lot of? And it was auditions. So my podcast is, we share our stories from the audition room, from the casting process that we all go through, dealing with the rejection, how we prepare for the audition, our best experiences in the room, our worst experiences in the room. And I just thought, this is a way where I can engage with my friends, with my colleagues, but this is also a way where I can network, because me talking to person A will lead me to them introducing me to person B. So that's what gave me the idea to start the podcast, was just to have conversations that I wasn't hearing in the podcasts that I was listening to.
So how do you like? Okay, this is probably like a long-winded question, but like, how do you prepare for an audition? Because for me, like that would freak me the hell out. Like even high school plays auditions were scary for me. I can't even imagine on the scale that you do it.
They still are.
Mm.
Anyone who tells you that they aren't even just a little bit anxious is straight up lying to you. But for me, it's like every audition is different. So if it's a musical, I like to know the show that I'm auditioning
Mm.
for. I don't need to necessarily know every song and every word in every song, but I want to know the themes in the show. I want to know the potential characters that I could play in the show. I want to be able to know the style of the music in the show. And also, a friend said to me, it's so important to know what was happening in the world
Mm.
when that show was being created, because theatre is a mirror to society. And what was happening in the world when something was being written, was being created.
Mm.
So something like Hamilton, for example, it's like historical,
Mm.
but it's so relevant to the political climate that the US was going through at the time when they were creating that
Mm.
show. So it's so important to know things like that. And then obviously if it's a musical, I know I'm gonna have a dance call. I try and get into a dance class because like I can move, but I'm not like a dancer. So I like to get into a dance class. I prepare whatever the song is that I'm going to be singing, and I go and see my singing teacher. And for the rest, I just try to not get distracted by things before I go into that room. Like it's very quick. Everything is heightened from the minute you wake up. Everything is like, because it's today.
Mm.
Everything like, and it's so quick to spiral. And when you get there, you're in a waiting room with like 20, 30 other people, and
Yeah.
people are like kicking their legs up to here and warming up their voices down there, and all of that can unnerve you.
Mm.
So for me, I put my earphones in and I just try to keep like to center myself, meditate, mindfulness, um, and and also for me the main thing is to remember that whatever happens in that room doesn't make me less of a performer.
Mm.
It doesn't take away from my ability. Um, whether it's good or bad, whether I get the role or not, it doesn't make me less than when I walked in
Mm.
there. And it's important. And also, what's really helped me is that to know that the people I'm auditioning for, they want me to be the best that I can be.
Mm.
They are not they are rooting for me. It's so easy to be there and be like, I've got to prove to these people, I have to defend myself, I must defend my talent, I must go in there. And but they want you to be the best that you can be. They want to see the best.
Mm.
So yeah, for me that's basically how I prepare for an audition.
And what are some of your favorite shows?
Some of my favorite musicals. I love anything by Stephen Sondheim.
Mm.
Anything. Stephen Sondheim could put music to the phone book, and I'd be like, yes, bestseller, yes. Give him all the Tony Awards, everything. So I love Stephen Sondheim, but I'm also a big fan of I do like the big musicals that everyone. I'm
Mm.
always like, I don't want to be what everyone else is. So but I do enjoy Hamilton very much. And I've been listening a lot to The Bridges of Madison County, Jason Robert Brown. It's such a beautiful score. And it's so emotional. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm in emotional space. I don't know. But I was like, this is so beautiful. I love the song. Um, and one of my favorite musicals is Anything Goes. It's old Cole Porter, and it's
Mm.
just so fun, and there's great tap dancing. So those are, but yeah, anything by Stephen Sondheim, I'm like, this is a winner.
What would your ideal role be? Like, which character would you love to play?
I would love to play Reno Sweeney in Anything Goes. I would
Okay.
love to play Reno Sweeney, and then I would really like to play anyone. I'll play the couch in Company. I love that musical so very much. And I'll play the door, I'll play the couch, I'll play the birthday cake if I have to. I just love that musical so much that I would even be the person in the wings, just adding my voice. So I would love to play anything in company. Yeah. Maybe Joanne when I'm older.
It sounds amazing. So I was so what have you been like watching recently that you've been enjoying?
I have been, and it's so bad because obviously I've been in
Mm.
isolation. In 2 days, I binged 5 seasons of Younger.
Yeah.
I started watching and I could not stop. I love that show so much because it just, well, the episodes they're 20 minutes, so it's like
Okay.
quick. Um, and I love, it's set in New York City. It's one of my favorite cities in the world. So I was like, I love this. The music that they use in the show. I'm sitting with my Shazam, like pause, Shazam, what
Was
is the
isn't
song?
Satin Foster in there?
Yes, she is. Um, and I just love. And a friend was saying to me, "Oh, it's on Showmax. You should watch it." So I was like, "Okay." Like, I think I tried to watch it a few years ago when it first came out, and I don't know if I didn't have the time or I just couldn't get into it.
Mm.
But now I cannot stop. So I'm like, I got 2 seasons left. I'm so excited. I also started to watch Tali's babe. Well, it was Tali's wedding diary,
Yeah.
and then Tali's baby diary, and I think I watched both of them in 2 days. I could not. I witch cackle laughed. It was so funny. Um, I think it was funny because I know people
Yeah.
who
It's
who
just
are Tali.
I had the same thing because like I put off watching it for years, like and I only watched it like this year as well when the second one came out, and I was like, nah, I know too many people like this is gonna annoy me, but it was so funny.
It was, it is his, and I called my sister and I was like, "You need to download the Showmax app. I'm gonna give you the password. You need to watch the show, please." And then I was watching, and my mother came in and she was like, "What are you watching?" And I said, "You got to see this." And then she stayed and finished watching with. I was like, "See, it's so good. It's just, it's amazing. It's so good." And I love that it's a South African show as well
Mm.
because I think that it showcases not only the South African humor, which is one of my favorites, but it showcases the quality of entertainment that we are
Mm.
producing here in South Africa. So I love that it's a fully South African show, and they weren't trying to be all American or
Yeah.
anything like that. So I loved that. What else have I been doing? I listen to a lot of music. So I recently listened to Billie Eilish has a new album
Mm.
that came out, I think, on Friday.
Y-
And honestly, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. Not one song was a skip for me. It sounds so different from her other stuff. Um, it's really beautiful, and the lyrics I think are incredibly powerful. Who else had a new album? A band called Bleachers, who I had never heard of until um, Taylor Swift collaborated with Jack, and I'm gonna say his last name wrong.
It's enough.
Anton, that's the one. And I have a friend who's a big she's a big Bleachers fan, and I was like, okay, okay. And then he collaborated with Taylor Swift, and I love Taylor Swift, and I loved the albums that came out,
Mm.
the Folklore and the Evermore, and when Bleachers came out, I thought, oh, let me listen. And I think it also came out on Friday, and it's really beautiful, just beautiful. I think my taste
Mm.
in music is changing, and I love that. I'm all about evolving.
So I want you to talk about Love is Blind because I saw you were also watching it.
Girl, wow. I have much to
Okay.
say about Love is Blind.
So okay, let's start first. I don't even know where to start. Okay, let's start with the biggest Damien and Gianna.
Damien, I I had this conversation with someone yesterday. So Damien, he looks like my ex and he behaves like my ex. And so all I want to do is throw my shoe at the TV because Giannina, I cannot understand how she allows herself to be
Ugh.
subjected to that kind of behavior. by someone. And I think it's because I've been in that position myself. So I'm like looking at her as me going, what were you thinking? What are you doing? Um he has this mentality where he's like the victim.
Yeah.
And um so okay, let's start with Damien, first of all, inviting Francesca to the party the way that he did
Saying, we see where
is
it
no.
goes.
Exactly. He gave her the impression that it was a date, and he gave her the impression that him and Giannina weren't actually together,
Yeah.
that maybe they were on a break or whatever. And then when he gets there and Giannina walks in and he's like, oh, she looks so beautiful. She takes my breath away. I was like, are you well? Because this other girl is gonna come up soon. And like, oh, she looks so beautiful. Take my breath away. And, quoting poetry. And then Francesca arrives and he's like, I just, want you to meet my friends. And it was just so wrong.
Yeah.
It just, the whole thing. And then when Francesca confronted him and she said, what did she say? I should not have been brought here and spoken to like that. He goes, no, you're right. And that's on Giannina. That's not on me. My
Yeah.
friend, that is on you because you invited this poor woman into this situation. She is here because you asked her to be there.
Exactly.
She's had this confrontation because you have put her in that position to have this confrontation. So it is on you. And then he gets all victim-y and with Janina, and he's like, don't tell me that I don't have a say. And I cannot with Damien. He is toxic personified.
And he knows exactly what he's doing. This is what gets to me.
Absolutely.
Because he brought her there because he knew it'll make Gigi, whatever, insecure.
Absolutely. But how's he pulling up in the Porsche like, hey, beautiful, get away from me, please.
And he's like, Porsches are right for me. How can he afford a Porsche and the Bonnets can barely live?
My cousin has a theory. She reckons he rented that Porsche for that scene.
Okay,
I feel like she's right. She's right. Driving around in a Porsche. Are you well? No.
Okay, can we talk about the Bonnets and how he sold his house to pay for student and now they're living in an apartment with her roommate? I'm like, how are y'all struggling so hard? Why do you not have like...
Do you know, and honestly, I think, what is his name? Matt.
Yeah.
I think that he is terrified of Amber. I think he is so scared of her. And I actually don't know what that relationship dynamic is. I feel, to be honest, I feel like a dry piece of toast has more personality than Matt. I'm sorry, but I think that
I can't believe all those girls liked him. It makes no...
This is what I'm saying. I don't understand how Elsie, Amber, Jess. I don't understand. Through a wall, through that you can tell me that this man has something. No, I'm sorry, and I think that he was somebody who obviously was very independent. He had his own house. He kind of had his stuff together.
Yeah.
And then Amber, like, did you hear when she pulled up at the house? Oh my God, it's so tiny. Ma'am, you live in a flat. This man has his own house. I don't care if the house is the size of a matchbox. The man has his own house.
And he was living there alone, wasn't he? Oh no, he had a roommate. I think he had a roommate.
Did he?
No, maybe not.
No, it was just him and the dog.
Yes.
And he sold. That was a gamble. Not only was he in the show and that the experiment was a gamble, but I think that was a gamble where he sold his house to pay off her loans, which of course is very noble. And if anyone would like to do that for me, that's great. But I feel like that's a gamble, especially because I feel like Amber's very unpredictable.
Yeah.
And you can see that he has lost himself in that relationship. Like when he said to Jessica, I'm not allowed to talk to you. Oh. Like, she's so controlling that she is telling him who he's allowed to talk to. And just for me, I feel like, and even when they were at his parents' house, she dominates the conversation,
Yeah.
she dominates everything, and I just feel like he's obviously too weak to
I think he kind
um
of wants to go along. He wants somebody who would take the lead.
mm,
I think that's what he wants. That's why he kind of likes what he likes about her is that he doesn't have to take the lead. He can just, she probably said, why don't we sell your house and pay
yeah.
off my student loans? And he's like, sure. You know what?
Yeah, you're probably right. He is probably somebody who doesn't like making hard decisions,
Mm,
who isn't probably emotionally mature enough to make those
yeah.
decisions, to be like, the head of the house, or to kind of, or maybe he just feels intimidated and that he can't be her equal in the relationship, which
Mm.
is unfortunate for them. Um,
But
I think she is. I'm not a fan of Amber. I never was
mm,
from the beginning. I was not a fan of her. There's just something. She's incredibly forceful, and but in a way that is off-putting.
yeah.
It's fine to be very sure of who you are and very sure of your ideas and your ideals,
Mm,
and that's fine. But I think that she's in a way where she doesn't even leave room for anybody else's opinion to be
yeah.
heard, which was evident with her going off on Diamond.
But also she has a very like pick me type energy. Like she like
Yeah,
even when Bonnet said, "Oh no, all of her friends like him," he mentioned all of your friends would leave their girlfriends and wives for me, which means she doesn't have female friends.
yeah. So she's definitely somebody who thrives
Yeah.
in male company. And I have friends who are like that. They are more comfortable with a male energy, and
Mm,
that's 100% um
okay.
okay. But I feel like Amber is destructive when it
Yeah.
comes to female friendships or female energies. She doesn't like being like with people who are the same gender that she is. She wants to be the one that's the different one. She
Yeah.
wants to be the one that's, yeah,
And
she
she
gives me
seems
that
like the
energy.
types who who tears down other women. Like that's just like the type of person that
Yes.
she is. Like she probably
Yeah.
was talking shit about Elsie all the time to Mark, and like that was
Probably all the time. And the fact that she was there defending him,
mm,
and I mean she was like defending him. I was shocked. And okay, if Elsie's also in
no,
the wrong, then she's in the wrong. But she completely did not acknowledge anything that Mark did that was wrong. As far as she was concerned, everything Mark did was
yeah,
right, and Mark was right, and I think that is, and I think she's destructive in that way.
mm. No, definitely. And like I was also like they like she made like Jessica like got naked on top of Bonnet. Like she just said to him, she was drunk and she just like I mean I understand that she probably wanted to, but all she did was say to him like, "Are you sure about your decision?" And I was like, "Yes, okay, like you can feel disrespected, but like don't make like she's like she went above and beyond to break us up." Like the girl made a comment
Exactly.
once.
And also the question Jessica asked, I mean, maybe the way she went about it is
Mm,
the wrong way. But I also would ask if somebody came and was like, I met this person through a wall, I'm getting married. I would also be like, are you sure? And maybe Jessica observed the two of them together, that maybe the dynamic in the relationship is not one of equal.
mm,
That it's very much it's Amber's way or there's no way.
yeah.
If Amber says the sky is green today, then the sky is green today, and no one is going to say that actually the sky is blue. Um, so, if I had witnessed that, and I think Jessica did feel that Bonnet was a friend,
Mm,
and if I witnessed that in a friend, I would also say, "Are you sure?" And perhaps maybe not be a sloppy drunk about it, which I think Jessica was at the time when she asked him.
yeah.
I don't think so. I guess that it came across as But also I think Amber took it out of. It's been 2 years later, and she's still like, I don't want the gift. I don't want the gift. I do not. I do not. Like it just was like, what is wrong with you?
I will take that Tiffany. They could have used that Tiffany champagne glasses, sold it, put it towards their house, baby fund, whatever.
Something. Look, if they don't want the Tiffany champagne glasses, I'll take it.
Yeah, me too.
Just let me know. Let me know where to collect it. But I feel that Amber. I think she is someone who wants to be. She wants to be the center of everything.
Mm.
And I think that's unfortunate because there's other people to consider, and I
Yeah.
think her marriage she is the center of her marriage.
I'm married.
Emma, are you married to yourself, or what is happening here? Because I'm very confused by this dynamic.
And also like how she like you can also like what I noticed is you can see that a lot of the girls are still friends with each other, like Gianna and all of them, but you never see her
Yes,
with the other girls. Matt hangs out with the other guys, but you never see her. Like she's clearly not friends
exactly.
with him.
Yeah. Like even Jessica, even though she lives in California, when she came back to Atlanta, they went for lunch.
Yeah.
Diamond and Lauren obviously see each other all the time. But you're right, Amber was never there. Like the boys all work out together,
Mm.
and Amber's just, what is she? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, because I feel like if she's not the one who everything is revolving around in that moment, then she doesn't want to be part of that. And of course, if you're like the only girl in your friendship circle of boys, of course, there's like natural instincts to be like protect the girl in our group,
Yeah.
to to make sure that the girl in the group is taken care of. And she loves that. She obviously she feeds on that type of what's the word I'm looking for? Of that type of thing for herself.
Yeah. No, definitely. Shame.
Shame.
I'm excited to see what's gonna happen in another 2 years or so.
I hope they keep bringing it back. I hope
Yeah.
they keep being like 2 years later.
I saw somebody said one of the South Africans on Twitter was like, "When I'm so glad that they only bring it back once a year because we can't deal with this much chaos more than once a year."
It's too much. It is too much. I think that what did we get? 3 new episodes.
Yeah.
And it's like 45 minutes an episode. And it's just chaos. Chaos reigns in my life. And I'm trying to choose a life of peace. I'm trying to wake up every morning and choose peace and mindfulness. But there's just chaos everywhere. I do love it though. I do love it. And I will say this to Jessica, if you are listening, I just want to tell you I am very sorry
Yeah.
that for the whole of 2020, Jessica, who was 34, I'm sorry that I made you the villain. And that Mark, who was 24, I made him out to be the nice guy. Because he is the villain in this whole thing. And that is all I have to say about that. And I'm sorry, Jess. I'm sorry.
Same. So like also on the topic of couples, we have a little bit of time left, but I want so Ben Affleck and JLo went official.
It was beautiful. It was
So what are your
beautiful.
views on Bennifer 2.0?
Do you know what? Jennifer Lopez, I love her very much.
Yeah.
And you know what? She's 52 years old, and she so believes in finding her happily ever after. And I love that. I love that for her so much. And I love that. She's like, okay, so my marriages didn't work. Okay. My engagements didn't work. That's fine. I will never give up on finding my fairy tale ending, my happily ever after. And I think that's really beautiful. She always leans in, and she's always like giving like love a
Yeah.
second chance. And I love that. I love that. It would have been so easy for her to be like, I'm done. I'm gonna be a bitter old woman for the rest of my life. And I really love that. And I loved Bennifer when they were in the beginning. What was it, 2012 or something like that?
I think it was
When were they
2000. I
first
think it was
together?
way before that, like 2001.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think it was
Cool.
like okay, maybe not then, like 2000, like that time, like
It
early.
was a long, and I loved them. The one thing I will say about Ben Affleck though, he always morphs into the aesthetic of the woman that he's with.
Exactly.
Which, Okay, Ben, that's cool. If you don't have your own aesthetic, that's cool. But Jennifer Lopez has 100% made him better looking. I don't know what it is. My
I
friend said
can't
to me,
understand. I can't
his
understand.
beard grows differently when he's with her, even. And that's true. Look at Ben last year. Look at Ben last year. Look at Ben now. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's growth. It's beautiful. Even look at Ben when he dated Jen the first time around. His hair was like combed.
Yeah.
It was like a 1950s style. He had like a little fake tan going on. Like he was looking good. I was like, Ben Affleck, good morning, good day. And then after his divorce from Jennifer Garner, he also just was like letting it go. He let himself go.
Mm.
But now, because Jen is super
Yeah.
super self-care. She's like her hair, there's like never a hair out of place. She looks good. And I think she's someone who's obviously feels good and then looks good.
Mm.
She made Ben look good. But my friend was like, his beard grows differently. I was like, it's true. Look at this. It is true. Like it's growing in a way that's like, hi. But I love that she was like Instagram official
Yeah.
on my own time.
I
Like I will tell you when
and
I'm
it'll be the
Instagram
last
official.
picture in a slideshow.
Yes. So I had to go through all these pictures of being like, oh my God, can I look like this at 52? Wow, 52. Whoa, come for me. Okay. Hello. Bennifer 2.0. I love it.
I really do. Like they do. They both look so happy. Like
Yeah.
and it feels
And
like it's the right time for both of them. There's no
yes, and
pressure.
exactly. And I think that their time apart, they have both been married and raised children
Mm.
and have had all this life experience and all this growth and maturity and experience that I think it makes you go into a new relationship with more insight
Yeah.
and they obviously know each other very well, and so but I think they know themselves very well now.
Mm.
I think they've had time to know who they are, and like I think Jennifer knows who she is and what she will stand for and what she will not stand for.
Mm.
And I think Ben adds to that. So I love that. I'm all for. I would like that pink ring to make a reappearance.
Oh, that ring! I dream about that ring at night, Tarryn. Like I can't.
My sister had, I think, like there used to be this thing. I don't know when it's still around. Honey jewelry.
Yes.
And my mother used to sell honey. And my sister saw this pink ring in the honey book. And I wore it for my matric dance. And so, because it was like Bennifer, like Ben had given her this pink diamond. And
Mm.
my sister bought this like fake costume jewelry ring, walking around all of like grade 10 with this ring on her finger. Like she was the one. But yes, I do dream of that pink ring. I want that pink ring to make a reappearance.
You know that will be like no one could script that better than if they did that.
I
I
think
feel
the
like they
internet would
might.
break.
I
The
feel like they
internet would break.
I feel like they might do it just to cause chaos. That two Leos together is like ultimate chaos. And
So
like
It's Leo season right now,
I
so
know it's just like
we live for it.
I'm just like this is two of them to, and then she announces it during Leo season. I mean, obviously it was a birth, and like it was just perfect, like everything.
If there's one thing about Jennifer Lopez, she knows exactly what she's doing
Mm.
at all times. She is very smart like that. Very, very smart. No, I love her. I wish them well. Jen and Ben, if you're listening, I wish you guys well. We are here for you. We support you.
Yeah. Okay. So true. On that note, I have to segue into the next interview, and we'll be back for Crashing On. So the next interview, I'll be chatting to Marc Lottering, um, about comedy and his journey and all of that. So yeah, we'll chat to you again after that. So how are you? How has this year been for you?
This year has been, well, I can't talk about this year without referring to last year because they kind of slid. The one slid into the other in terms of what we all are going through. And I have to admit, I was so, because my brain's always going crazy with with creativity. So when this happened, I was like, oh, wow, this has never happened in the world before, and I've got to write some stuff about this. So I think I was so consumed by the fact that we were going through this strange time that I didn't really experience it in terms of the calamity that it is. I was so sidetracked by having to, because there was just this new thing about lockdown and how we are living now and the pandemic, and I was consumed with that and the challenge of having to move my stuff online, that I had to perform online because I had resisted that terrain for such a long time. And then that was weird. That came with its own weirdness because nobody prepared me for no audience. My management was just, we're going online, and so they're going to film the show, and we're going to do it live. And so get your material ready and get the show. And we had the posters done, and we thought about everything except no audience. So when we did the first show, which was called My Fellow South Africans, I was about to go onto stage, which is the room in the studio where the cameras were. And so we're in the other room, which we will call backstage. And my team was like so excited because they said, oh my goodness me, 17,000 people are tuned in. And we didn't realize at that point that was a record and that will never ever happen again. We didn't realize that was just weirdness and madness. And while they were talking to me, I couldn't actually focus because, always before you go on, there's anxiety in your stomach and everything, and give two little excited farts. And then it was 7:30 and I had to, I went on at 8 o'clock, Acoustic Element went on before me. They were opening the show for me. And then there were these two camera guys. And the first line to every show that I do is, I wear my sickness. So, and normally when I do that, like 600 people shout back, I wear. So now I'm grand on it. I'm like, I wear my sickness. And just these two camera owns like looking at me, like going, are you for sin or something? Who do you think is going to go back to us? So that was a baptism of fire. And then along with that came the thing of, oh, wow, I've got to get used to a whole new way of working. And then that kind of took up a lot of my headspace and, rising to these challenges. So we did a couple of shows. I think in total we've done four shows during this time, which I had to do online. Some of them without the audience, and then I think the last two we were allowed to have 50 people in. But this year, though, what is different from last year is that I've calmed down, because I've accepted this situation as the new kind of way things are going to be done for the next while or so. So I've calmed down, and I've literally calmed down to a panic because with calming down, with accepting everything about how we're going to live and how things are going to be, you also have to accept, oh my goodness me, this thing of a theatre operating in a normal way that's going to take a long time. And with that, I'm always in touch with people who are messaging me online through Facebook and Instagram. And with that, there are two schools of people out there. There are people who say not going anywhere near groups of people. And then there are other people who go, I will absolutely not watch theatre on a laptop. I have to come into a venue, even if you only allow 20 people. Those are the diehards. So we've seen that when certain venues could open and we could allow 70 people in, for example, those tickets would be sold in 20 minutes, in 30 minutes, because there are those people who just have to put on their lipstick, and I understand them completely. They are like, I think in their heads they're just going like, zack, they've just got to put on the earrings, put on the heels, get on your lekker jacket, and come what may, you've just got to go into a space where there are other people. Even if they're 2 meters at the table, 2 meters away, you just have to be with other people, and you have to laugh at comedy. You have to laugh with a stand-up comedian with other people in the room. And there are people who refuse to do it any other way, and I totally understand that. So this year has been weird for me because you realize that that's happening. Of course, your income is threatened completely, your way of life and things that you, because I used to be in this wonderful position whereby the bank manager will phone you very discreetly and go, "How are you?" And that usually means, "Yay!" Like, we need something to be happening in this bank account. And I was always in a great position because as a comedian, you're able to phone venues, book venues in Joburg, Durban, Cape Town, Port Elizabeth, especially big support in the Eastern Cape. And you book these big theaters, put up your posters, and you go and you tour with your show. You can write one show and tour with the same material the whole year per region, of course. And in that way, your rent is paid. In that way, you can continue living. I love coffee shops. You can continue going to coffee shops. You can continue helping your charities, because I work with I work with a particular charity in Towns of Mitchell's Plain, and it's important that to keep things going, the soup kitchens and so forth. But now all of that has been challenged, and what happens in lockdown is you write one show and you put it online. Never mind the whole country, the whole world can log in. All the expats can log in and now enjoy the show with Cape Town from wherever they are in the world. But the thing is, the show is now out, the material is out, and the thing about South Africans, the only reason they've been supporting me for over 20 years is because all they ask is new material all the time. And now that's tricky because now it's, you're writing a new show. In lockdown, I've had to write a new show, one new show every 3 months. Before lockdown, I would write one new show every 18 months.
Sure. Oh
so it is a crazy time. But the challenge has been good because it also pushed me to look at me having a little one-way conversation. It also pushed, sorry, man, I never get people to my house anymore. So
it's okay. This is why I'm here.
We've got to rise to that challenge, and it's also challenged me and taken me to places where I should have gone before lockdown, but now I have the time, and I'm talking about film and television. So my head's geared that way as well.
So
please ask me say something or ask me something. Like, just do your job, for crying out loud.
My job is to listen to you. Talking about television, like I feel like my earliest memory of you is on that sitcom that you did like in the 90s. What is it called? Big Oaks, is that what it's called?
What a traumatic childhood you had, Tarryn.
That was so classic. I love that show. What do you mean?
Okay.
Okay.
I like to refer to it as it had an underground following. Basically, you under your double bunks. The thing about television is it's very specific, and when you are seduced by it, because all we want to do is be on TV, especially in the 90s, because that would be the ticket to fame, and I think you start to grow up very quickly, or I did, because I did a few TV projects, and when I would sit down and just be with myself and think about what I'm up to, I had to realize that the live theater is my most comfortable space. That is actually my calling. And I'm that creature, like so many other people in the world. I think that when you do get roped into television, you must be with such a solid team who understands you so well, because they've got to put you onto that camera and you're going to be in everybody's homes, but you have to be portrayed in the right way. It's got to capture you in the right way. Because the very gifted people, and I'm not very gifted when it comes to TV, but the naturals, you can give them an A4 page when you can turn the camera on and they just work. Nou, ek is nie so nie. I need very specific words. I need to tell very specific stories, because I also have to respect my brand, you know, and I can't suddenly be something else on TV when somebody who's been supporting me all the years with VHS tapes and coming to the Baxter Theatre or coming to the theatre at Monte Casino in Joburg. And they support you all the years, and then they see you on TV and suddenly you're this very different person and you're doing a very different kind of comedy, and people kind of feel betrayed and they feel a little bit disappointed because they've also told their friends, come watch, this is Mark, who I told you about. And then you're this different person. So for me, what I've learned is now when I go onto television, is I make sure that I've got the right team with me, and that's the right director, the right script. The script is so important, the right people around me, because people think, you know, and it's not, I'm not just speaking for myself, it happens to a lot of people, a lot of artists out there. Somebody sees you and they think they know you. They see the big hair, they hear the accent, and they go, we've got the perfect script for you. I mean, we must put you on TV, and you read their script and their first word is Jay. And I'm like, I very seldom walk around saying Jay. You know, very, very seldom. Or they often, you know, I've had more than one role where somebody's wanted me to play where the character is called Herschel. Because then I realized that a lot of white people were exposed to like Herschel Gibbs. And then they heard that he was colored, and then the name Herschel is just like, you know, oh, that must be a colored name. So you find that people know so little about you, and it's not their fault. It's just the assumption, and I think it's part of our journeys, no matter what color you are. It's part of your journey in life to not necessarily educate. Educate sounds so like you're putting your hands on your hips and like for telling somebody. But it is part of your journey to when you open your door and you let people into your life, you have to let them get an honest glimpse into your life so that they can experience it. You know, because we all want to be portrayed with dignity. We all have different stories to tell. Nobody is just one thing. So so when it comes to television, it's a dangerous medium, because as I said, you're going into people's homes, you're in the lounge, and there it is, and that's the way millions of people are going to see you. It's the only way they're going to see you, because there are millions of people who don't come to the theatre. So that's the only way. So you've got to be so cautious. So I've met along the way now in the last 10 years, I've met the right people. There are many like-minded people like me who have the same issues. And so there are like-minded producers, and there are like-minded directors and like-minded script writers. And as you can see now in South Africa, the film industry, I'm so excited about it. We're seeing lots of films from so many groups of people that you would not have seen it 10 years ago. And the directorial team and everybody is they're all in on it.
Yeah.
And it's being told from the inside. You don't have to sit at home and cringe. I do cringe with one or two, because that's part of life. I think it's very healthy.
Same.
To cringe.
Yeah, same.
Let's do that. but I'm so excited. And it's all about this thing about telling our own stories. And after all these years, so many years, you still see the stuff coming up in Hollywood now. You know, with the Oscars, with how many people are up there who are not white.
Yeah.
And suddenly, and they're dealing with the issues now. So this is a real thing that I'm talking about. So it's about empowering the right people and just telling our stories. I mean, I watch stories now, I watch films now, and it's got to be really good, because it takes me the first 20 minutes. I'm looking on the screen for people who are not white. Because we just become so accustomed to it. And I'll tell you the classic line. Some of my best friends really are white. So this is not an anti-white thing, But I'm just saying that it's a natural thing for us as human beings, for Black people and white people, to want to see yourself portrayed in the arts. And that's when you relate to a story. And we've got to make conscious efforts to change our thinking and the way that we tell stories. So I am excited, and I hope to dabble on that side of the number line.
So, I also think, for too often, colored people on TV and in film were the butt of the jokes. And I think especially with your comedy, you sort of change it around where it feels more like, we're laughing, they're laughing with us instead of at us. So was that important for you to kind of create that sort of, direction?
It's absolutely important for me because whether you like it or not, and I'll just put it out there officially, I don't like being called a spokesperson or a representative, of people from the Cape Flats. But whether I like it or not, I have the microphone. And people walk into the theatre. Let's say there's only 650 people in the theatre. I've got the microphone. There's a sold-out audience sitting. The lights are made because I always make sure that the lighting is amazing. Lighting is everything. You're laughing, but the lights will even guide you how to laugh. So even if you don't like a show, you go yo, but the lighting. So the lighting's great. There you stand with a microphone, and whether you want to be called a representative or not, or whether you have an issue with being called a spokesperson or not, there you are. And the people who are sitting in the audience, who come from the areas in which I grew up, they sit there and, especially with my early work, they love you, but there's a little bit of, Mark, don't screw this up. Because now it's a mixed audience. And it's such a fine line between having the joke at the expense of people from the Cape Flats. Because it comes, when you get that microphone, it does come with some kind of responsibility. So yes, that kind of thinking impacts upon my writing in a big way. And even when I portray my characters, I've got a character who exists on a taxi and he's a taxi gachi. I've got a character who, she's a cashier. And when you look at characters like that, even when you look at Auntie Mo, who's kind of one of the more famous characters, and she's a housewife, but she says it from a freestanding house in Belgravia Road, Athlone. And these little things are so very important, and you will be so shocked. To this day still, sometimes I go out and somebody will come up to me, and it's somebody who's not from the Cape Flats, and they will go, ooh, and they want to talk to me about how much they love Auntie Mo. And they say, I love your tea lady character. And you go, in that moment, you realize how much work has to be done. Because there are still some people who can't hear a Cape Flats accent without calling it a tea lady. And if you tell Auntie Mo that she was a tea lady,
God have mercy.
There are a lot of things that she would tell you. So there's so much work to be done, and there's so much responsibility that comes with the work as well. And it definitely does. I am aware of the responsibility of it, and I do. By the time the show gets to the stage, especially if it's in its second week, I would say of running, in the good old days when we had long runs in the theatre, like 2 years ago, you make sure that even if it looks off the cuff, but every segment of the show is thought through. Certainly my performances. It's been thought through, it's been interrogated. Most of my shows is produced by Anma McKay. He's directed some of them as well. And he's a hectic interrogator of issues. So we make sure that when it goes out there, we understand where it's coming from and that everything is placed, very delicately. At the end of the day, people need to laugh. That's my job. They must laugh. But there's a responsibility that comes with it.
So how do you deal with people always coming up to you? I'm sorry, you are like so recognizable that I'm sure that it's like constantly like, how do you go to the shops? How do you do anything?
I go to the shops in the morning because people are in a very good mood before 12 o'clock in the afternoon. They're very nice. Um, I don't know what happens after 12, but things happen. I think people's exes phone them, or they they realize
The
that the
debt
marriage is
collectors.
working, or but things like register. It's not so lick at the office and they want to get another job, but generally they're getting into the day. So when you see people before 12 in the day, everybody's very respectful and everybody's be decent. So believing today it's going to be a beautiful day. Today is the first day of the rest of my life. So in that vibe. So if I need to get things done, I go out early. But if I don't go out, if I'm babalas or anything, and I went out with my children and I can only go out after lunchtime, I I find that people are generally friendly. I don't mind being bothered at all. Somebody told me once, someone who's in the industry said to me, the time you should panic is when nobody comes up to you. That's when you really should panic. So being a comedian, when people see you, most of them generally there's a huge smile. And so that's the interaction that I have with people, and it's very brief. Some people will ask for selfies. The voice notes are a bit crazy. People will say, just tell my wife something funny, and I'm like, you save your own marriage, don't make it my problem. But generally people are really, really nice. The weirdest people are the ones that come up to me and they go, we watched your show on Showmax last night. And then silence, because I was waiting for him to say, and it was amazing. And then I'm just like, okay, let me go and find out where Andy is. I can't stand here in this hour. Just look at you, watch my show and say nothing. So the interactions are great, and I think I'm in a great position whereby most of the time I make people feel good. And that sort of is my mission as a comedian. When people leave theatre, you want people to think a little bit about stuff and about issues, but I ultimately realized that the only reason they've gone to the box office and dropped some cash is because life is hectic. Many things are not affordable, but they've taken that 120 rand and they decided that they want to laugh. And you must never lose sight of that. That's what they came in for.
What up and coming comedians are you a fan of? Nah.
It's always very tricky. I see a lot of funny people. I see a lot of funny comedians, and particularly in Joburg. But I don't, because I'm constantly working. What I found out in the past was when I was working and I watched other comedians, it was bad for me because I'm creating work and you don't want to put yourself in a position where an idea is so appealing to you that you find yourself using the same idea on stage. So because I'm always working, I never get to see a whole lot of comedy. But you won't get it out of me to single people out. Because I did that before and I got into a whole lot of trouble.
Okay.
But what I will say is, I just wish that the newer people could start the way we started with the pressure. Because when I started, it was me and David Cow, Alan Committee at that time. And we just believed that we had to book a theatre and do like at least 60 minutes. So these were the days before comedy clubs. So the pressure was on to write new material. And now we have comedy clubs and you come in and you're doing 7 minutes or 10 minutes, which is great. But my problem is that people, as I said, South Africans are crazy audiences. And when they don't hear new material, They get turned off. And the thing about our audiences is that your material doesn't necessarily have to be mind-blowing. They just have a whole lot of respect that you made an effort to present some new material, even if you're using some of the older stories on the night, but use some new stories. And so that has kind of been disappointing for me, in that I'm finding that there's not a lot of pressure. There's not a lot of challenge being placed at the doors of the new people about this business of new material. And also, I think with great success that we've had with certain comedians in our country, and then with the biggest success story with Trevor having gone overseas and having his own show, is that the young comedians assume that it's just instantaneously a rock and roll life. But it's not. The way you get there is to, the way you get there is to develop yourself and your brand. And the way you develop your brand and the way you get your fan base to grow is to present the audience with new stories and to keep, telling them funny new stories. So it's a long road. And I just think that now where we are at the moment, it's just too quick for some people in their heads, because suddenly somebody sees a new comedian and suddenly, and I've seen this happen, a whole TV ad campaign is thrown at you. And then, wow, the money's coming in and you're now with a particular brand, and you've moved away from the honesty of the life of the stand-up comedian and the passions of the life of a stand-up comedian and the sacrifices that you make and just the business of just keep compiling the material and playing with the material. And, we've moved away from that. We're more now on about the rock and roll possibility of being a stand-up comedian. So I hope that we can kind of just get back to that place again, where the younger people are encouraged, about the earlier principles, which is worldwide, of stand-up comedy.
So what do you have coming up?
I've got a show. My new show is called Loot. And I think it opens in August. I must just check. All the details will be posted on my website, marclottering.com, because there's a venue in Durbanville called De Boer. It's an intimate venue. It's a supper venue where a lot of comedians and artists have been going for years. And it's an intimate little venue, and they hope to be able to allow 50 people in by August. So they booked me in good faith. And the show will be online, but it will be performed live at De Boer for I think for a week. So it's called Loot, and that's the show that I'm working on at the moment.
Okay.
This has been, it had another title. And then beginning of last week, woo! So much going on when we saw people trying to get big flat screens into their small getaway cars. And I was like,
I read your on your website your blog post. I was laughing about your whole story about the man.
Did you read that one? I'm so glad you were laughing.
It was brilliant.
Okay, great. So I want people to while my new show is Loot, but the website that you went to, it's been my website. My younger friends have met me and took me out for a strong cup of tea, and they said, we have to bring you into 2021, Mark. Kanala, please, can we take charge of that website? And they revamped it completely. So it's being developed now, and that's the one that you've been to. Because my previous one, people couldn't even look at it on their phones because I had stuff from Noah's Ark on there and different kinds of apps. So now I bring it into 2021. And the idea with the website is that my fans, if they're feeling bored in the day and starved of any Marc Lottering material, they should be able to go there, because we put up all our old movies up there for rent. So you can rent the films at like 30 Rand and 40 Rand. And we're launching an Ask Auntie Merle corner. So Auntie Merle, via video, will respond to you. So if you write to me about your problems with your relationships and whatever, and then Auntie Merle will respond live with video. So we are, and that'll be free for people just to go to and chill and relax. So we want the site eventually just to be like a go-to site. And the idea is to eventually to be able to put all the new stuff like Loot. We want to be able to put it on there and people can actually just go there and rent the movies. And we want to experiment with different things, talk shows and so forth on marclottering.com. So this ties in with when I allowed you to ask me one question like 4 hours ago about how the year has been for me. It's that business of going in that direction. I've been collaborating with the guys from Funny Cup, and they've just been great in terms of guiding me, in terms of my online presence. So a lot of stuff we're going to experiment with, chat shows, little webcam series, and we want to put them with my webcam series. And it's just a word I had in a meeting and they threw it up. So we're going to put that on that marclottering.com site as well. So the new show will be at debut, and I'm sure it's August, but I'll put the details on our website.
Okay, Marc, thank you so much. This was lovely.
Thank you. I spoke a lot, eh? So
I could have gone on. We have a time limit, but I could have gone on, so it's good.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was great chatting with you as well. Very easy to talk to you, so thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
That was our interview with Marc Lottering. You can find him at Marc Lottering on Twitter and Instagram, and at Marc Lottering on Facebook. You can also check out his website, marclottering.com, where you can find out more about his upcoming show, Loot. We will also post about it on our social media when the release dates are announced. But also read his little blog. It's so funny. Obviously he writes brilliantly, but I read it quite often just to have a good chuckle. It's like his tweets but longer, like his Instagram captions but longer. But otherwise, if you need a little pick-me-up, read one of those today. Now we're going to our voice note reviews. This is where you guys send in recommendations or little notes of what you've enjoyed. And last week we asked you to tell us about a rom-com recommendation, because technically this is releasing on my birthday and there's nothing I love more than a rom-com. So this week we have messages from Theo, from Zimi, and from Najwa, in that order, and you can hear what they recommend. So yeah, here's our voice notes.
Hey Karen, it's Theo here. I just want to say you're really doing great work with the podcast. To answer your question about rom-coms, my favorites include Always Be My Maybe, The Big Sick, Crazy Stupid Love, 2 Weeks Notice, and The Lovebirds. There are also some LGBT ones such as The Thing About Harry, Love Simon, and Happiest Season. Those are really cute. I would also recommend, if you're looking for a TV series, Love Victor. The first season was very PG because it was supposed to be on Disney+, but the second season was so much better. But there are also some romantic dramas that I really recommend, and that's God's Own Country, The Way He Looks, Free Fall. That's a German movie, so you might just have to find the German translation, but there are just so many good romantic movies out there. Not enough kind of modern rom-coms, but I just really kind of like the feelings that rom-com gives you, and it's just so wholesome and everything. So yeah, those are mine, and I hope I gave you some suggestions that you could maybe try out sometime.
Hi, Zimi here. So my favorite rom-com has to be Notting Hill. All-time favorite. I can watch it. I think I've watched it for over 15 times already. It got released when I was much younger, but like now that I'm older, wow. It's such a charming, pleasant, warm movie. Um, the storyline of how, two people come from different societal backgrounds are just trying this thing of being in love. And only now that I get to understand, um, of how really it is like just being out there trying to fall in love with all these different people, but unfortunately your background still stands, your background still matters. So yeah, um, have a lovely day.
Hi, crushing on Karen. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to do this, but my favorite rom-com is definitely A Lot Like Love. Firstly, Amanda Peet and Ashton Kutcher, love them together. They have such beautiful chemistry. And then secondly, I like the idea of a love story spanning over so many years. You see their failures, you see their growth, you see them, being with other people, and it comes down to timing, and yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed them going to different cities. I mean, he had to move back to his mom's house at one point. So it was really awesome seeing young love turn into adult love, but not forcing it when they were young, but realizing, and also holding that space open and knowing they can always come back, or not really that they can always come back, but they always found themselves coming back. So yeah, I've watched that so many times. I don't even know how many times. One of those movies that just make me all mushy and warm inside, really.
Thank you to Theo, Zimmy, and Najwa for sharing with us this week. Next week's question is, tell us about a comedy, movie, or TV show you've enjoyed recently. You can send us a voice note to +27 78 362 2566.
So, we're back with Crashing On. So, Tarryn, as our guest this week, what have you been crashing on?
Well, I've been crushing on Younger, the TV show. I've also been crushing on Peter Herman, who is in the TV show. That is a beautiful man.
Is that the
Beautiful
one
man.
Mariska Hargitay?
She's such a lucky woman. Oh, he's a beautiful man. He's got strong jaw, he's got strong features. He's a beautiful, strong man. Been crushing on him, and I've been reading a lot, and I have been crushing on this book called The Hunting Wives.
Tell me more.
This book, it's I don't know if you remember a TV show called Big Rich Texas. It was a reality TV show. It's like the Rich Housewives of Dallas on a different scale. Do you remember that TV show GCB with Christian Chenoweth?
Yes.
And
I never watched it, but I do remember.
Okay, so it's wild. It's rich Texans. So this book, it's set in a small town, but these women have way too much money and way too much time on their hands. And there's a murder involved, and the women go hunting every Friday night. But then it's such a wild, chaotic ride, and I could not put it down. And I highly recommend this book. It's called Hunting Wives, and I cannot remember the author. Yikes.
It's
But
fine.
then there was another book that I was read called The End of Men. And that book was
Sounds like a dream.
it's listen to the story. It's set in 2025. There's a mysterious virus, but it only kills men. Oh my god. And then it's how so all the men are dying. If the men are dying. Okay, some of them are immune, but the men are dying. And it's from the perspective of these various women around the world. And it's how the workforce suddenly needs to be changed. Skills need to be taught for jobs that were predominantly held by men. suddenly all the politicians are women. Women are basically running the world, and it's like it's how they come together to figure it out
Sure.
and how they rebuild society without like men. Because now there's like for every 10 women there's one man. And like
Oh my
how do
gosh.
you build society like that? And it's such a wild ride. And I think the author's name is Christina McSweeney, and it's such a good book.
Oh wow. So for me, I think I told you about this, but like I've been watching Schmigadoon.
Yes, I haven't started that, but I know that
Oh
it's very
my god.
like Broadway themed, and I gotta get in there.
I'm obsessed. Like it's like this couple, they're like dealing with the issue, like they long term in a long term relationship, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go on like this retreat to kind of like zhuzh up their relationship, and they land in get lost on this hike, and they in this town, and it's like a 1940s like musical. And like everybody just like singing, but then they're like, okay, this is a bit weird. But the woman in the relationship, she loves musicals, so she's like in her element. The guy is not having it, so they're like, okay, they're gonna leave. They can't leave. They have to like, so like a leprechaun pops up, played by Martin Short. Love it. And he's like,
Oh my
you
god!
you can't leave until you find true love. And they're like, well, I mean, we've been together for years. We are in love. So they try to walk over again. Nope, can't leave. So they have to go back to the town, and they sort of like break up, and they have to try and find love with someone else. And like,
Oh
and
my
there's just like
word!
all these musical numbers, but it's really funny and really entertaining because it's a satire of the musicals. But
Yeah,
it's also like it shows how like the characters in the town are brilliant. Like the mayor is Alan Cumming. It's just like Kristen Chenoweth plays
yeah.
like the
You
priest's wife.
you sent me the cast list, and I was like, oh my god! I'm like, whoa. Every next person, I was like, oh my gosh. I need to get into this show because everybody is talking about it. Well, all my theater nerd friends are talking about it. But let me just finish Younger, and then I'm in it.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna be
gosh!
messaging you like I'm on
I mean,
episode 1.
but like not all the episodes are out yet, so it's like it comes out every Friday, so at least you have some time, like if you want to binge it. But oh my god, I think it's funny. It's like it's just like it has quite a nice like story behind it, and like point at the end. You know what I mean? Like the way the
Oh, that's
characters
good.
get to know each other, like how they improve, because like so the
Yeah.
townspeople improve from getting to know these 21st century people, and the couple improve because of their relationship with the townsfolk. Oh, lovely, brilliant, lovely songs. It's
Oh,
funny,
I
entertaining.
love that. So like everybody learns from everybody, and everybody.
Mm.
Oh, that's lovely. That's so nice. You know, the world is such a shamble. So anytime that something just like makes my heart warm, I'm like, it must stay forever.
But Tarryn, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us where we can find you on the internet.
On the internet, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is at Tarryn Steyn. And then my podcast is also on Instagram at Hope I Get It Pod. I'm also on Twitter at Tarryn N Steyn. And my tweets are very much just a bitter 30-year-old
Aren't we all?
shouting into the void. But I love my Twitter because it's where I met you, and it's such a wonderful space for me anyway. I feel very supported by my fellow friends on the Bluebird app. But yes, you can find us on the internet, and then the podcast is on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, anywhere you listen to a podcast. We are busy preparing to launch season 3, so I hope that y'all listen.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Me, you can find at Karen Walby on Instagram, at Karen Walbys on Twitter, and sign up for my newsletter, Wild Streams, at wildstreams.substack.com. The podcast can be found at Crushing On Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, at What IGN's Crushing On YouTube, and you can find more information about this and all our other episodes at our website, crushingonpodcast.com, and send any feedback to mail@crushingonpodcast.com. Send us voice notes at +27 78 362 2566. Join our Facebook group, Crushing on Club, where we chat about the show, celebrity news, recommendations, the whole shebang. The show is produced by me, Karen, and Rebecca Barches. The show is edited and engineered by Rebecca Barches, or admin is done by Leanne Phillipson. Our logo was designed by Nathifa Maroof, and the show was created in partnership with IGN Africa. If you like the show, tell everyone that you can, any way that you can. Keep up to date with all of our episodes by subscribing to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And please rate and review the episodes on Apple Podcasts, as it helps others find the show. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another in-depth conversation with another pop culture lover. See you then.